Coach Cook, head boys basketball coach at Hamilton Heights Christian Academy. And you know I'm always locked in with my brothers, Raylan Wood with Power Forward.
What's up, y'all? This is Rico White. Y'all locked in with Raylan Wood, and this is the Power Forward Podcast.
Hey, what's up, man? It's your boy AJ, Jizzle, Money, Bubba, whatever you want to call me. I'm a professional basketball player. Support my boy Raylan Wood Podcast. It's gonna be elite. I'm telling you now.
What's up, world? Kendrick Tate, aka KTZ. Yo, when I power forward, it's got to be with Raylan Wood.
Welcome back with your boy Raylan Wood on Power Forward.
Yep.
Wood, I'm super excited today, man. We got another good one, brother.
Another good one, man. Another guy that's made history. Even though he
Another
won't admit it, I will for him. Don't even worry about it. Coach Jeff.
What's up, man? I appreciate y'all having me on. Thanks.
Hey, man, no problem. Before we get started, man, I got to ask you, what was your most embarrassing moment on the football field?
Me playing?
You playing or you coaching?
Playing and coaching. Now, playing, I think most embarrassing probably was, say, my junior year at AE. We had the big AE versus Brainerd game.
Mm-hmm.
TSU was there. So, it was packed, homecoming. Yeah. I would probably say, I remember like yesterday, I was probably like by the 13-yard line going in towards the field house. Kid caught the ball from Brainerd, and I broke down, lost my footing, and he just trucked me.
Oh, man.
Trucked me straight to the end zone. So, it was a pretty good one. He had a nice one. We won the game though, still that night. But I'll probably say that was one of my most embarrassing ones because it was just it was pretty bad. It looked bad. I had to give him say, hey man, we get them all, but that was probably one of my most embarrassing ones just in high school. Just he flatlined me.
He get on to the end zone.
Yeah, he hit man. What made it so bad was, like I said, he ran me over. I think once he ran me over, I think the rest of my team was like, oh, and he proceeded to just run through 2-3 more tackles, but mine was so bad that like I said, nobody else could be excused for not tackling him because when he hit me, it was just he just caused a perfect storm. I broke down, ready to make the tackle, and he just hit me.
Boom.
It was it. I ain't had no hands, no wrap up, nothing. All technique gone. Look like I never played before.
So, Coach, man, for everybody who don't know you, man, tell them where you're from, sir.
Oh yeah, so I'm born and raised East Knoxville. From Knoxville, Tennessee. Grew up there my whole life. Grew up right there on the east side. Moving from Walter P to Town View. Well, it was Town View back in the day. The Vista now to over on Alma. Then landed on Lansing, and then had a couple stops and graduated from Austin East High School. So born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. Born and raised on the east side. I just grew up there. A special place for me.
Man, for sure. So, Coach, thinking back, man, I want you to think back when you was a young jet, man. When you was a youngin', what all sports did you play?
So I always been multi-talented, just going in from young. Track, football, basketball. I played soccer, baseball. So everything that we could pretty much do back in the day. From in Knoxville, we had it. We had the block shut down from track, baseball, Clyde Walker Field to Evans Collins playing football to Cal Johnson and everything playing EKA basketball. So it's so growing up, I just played everything. I started playing a little soccer when I got into high school. Well, actually middle school, and then that was just a little special thing for me. But I always try to play a little bit of everything that I could, just so I can always dibble and dabble in it, figure out what I was best at.
For sure, man. For sure. You was bringing up all those landmarks in Knoxville, man, and yeah. I didn't grow up here, but I used to come here every summer as a kid. And man, I used to be, especially when I lived in New York, and my mom would send me down here in the summer, man, I would be so excited, bro, to get to Knoxville just to do some of them things, you know, play outside all day,
Yeah.
go to different spots or whatever, man. But yeah, nah, that's cool, man. So, Coach, what I want to know is I want to know about you on that football field.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up, just growing up, I always play with the Baby Rovers. Played 1 year with the Falcons. I had to get, my parents put me in football when I was young, around 7 years old. And just growing up, funny stories. I started out with the Baby Road Runners. Things just didn't go well. Mentally, I couldn't handle it. So my parents moved me to play with the Falcons. And then, my stepdad, credit to him a lot, was like, basically was kind of, nah, it's not gonna happen. We're going back over there. And so I played with the Baby Runners all my life growing up. And then, went to high school, started out at Gibbs. Then I, ended up going to Austin East and, traveled on, played college ball, played a little professional for a little while. But as far as just playing football is something I'm passionate about. I loved it all my life, as far as playing offense, defense. I made my money playing defense. And so that was my specialty, is playing there. But, as far as just, giving back and giving back to everybody I can now, I always say that football is going to feed my family, whether I was going to play it or whether now with me coaching it and doing that. So it's just been a special thing for me all my life.
And this one question I couldn't wait to ask you, bro. High school, who was your rival? Individually, who was your rival?
My rival, individually. So I would say it started off a couple different ways. I gained rivals as the years went.
Mm-hmm.
So like my freshman year coming in the high school, it's a big deal. Freshman, are you playing varsity? You're not playing varsity, what it is. And so I was blessed to be able to play varsity. And so so starting off, my biggest rival, probably my first 2 years, was Tommy Winton. Tommy Winton with the West, so he was obviously a varsity player at West, and I was a varsity player playing at the time at Gibbs. And so we were both Friday nights. Our parents would, obviously proud parents, but we would always either meet at my house or their house afterwards and just watch the highlights and like, what did he do? What did I do? And so it trickled into our sophomore years. And our sophomore year, it became again Tommy for myself rival and a guy named Derek Milligan that went to PAL. So we was battling for a prestigious award called Sophomore of the Year.
Yeah.
And so they ended up actually co-winning it that year. Tommy and Derek did that year. So I didn't. So then once I ended up leaving and transferring to Austin East, my rivals then just became, the funniest thing, just became anybody from Fulton. Obviously, when you diverge into the rivalry, it's anybody from Fulton. So you would take on anybody that wore those colors. And so just growing up too, obviously playing with the Baby Road Runners and doing that. But as far as an individual rivalry, it was more so, it was just a team thing of Fulton. I had my friends, my buddies, that played at other schools that we would always compare things to, but it was just nothing more so like my individual personal goals with just Fulton. I always had a really, really good game anytime I played them. So that was just special. That was just special for me.
What's your record end up being against Fulton?
So I was 3-1. 3-1. Unfortunately, I lost the only game that to me that kind of mattered was my senior year in football. They beat me my senior year. Buddy Pennell. Buddy Pennell ran a kickback, and that sealed our fate. Beat us 14-13. I think we made a mistake on a kickoff return, and then they beat us that year 14-13, and kind of really, for the most part, kind of started that run for them.
Yeah.
I think switched to change the power of that momentum. So that's the unfortunate thing, is I did lose my senior year to him.
Cool. So, Coach, man, think about when you was at Austin East, or it could be some your time at Gibbs too. But who was the teammate you felt like that got the most out of you?
They got the most out of me, growing. So I give a lot of credit to when I got to Austin East, is just the guys like Stephen Booker, Mark Andrews, Lee Curry, Brian Blair. Those guys are seniors. Brian obviously is my cousin, and then Jamichael. Just even when playing basketball, with Jamichael, just being family. So it was when I got to AE, I came in with a mindset and a purpose of I knew what I needed to do to better myself, better my career. So getting a lot out of me was just more so me wanting to be a great teammate and just giving back to those guys. You know, I had to prove a lot, you know, as a guy coming from, you know, you coming from Gibbs and you know, you got to think early 2000s, you know, and I played with the Baby Romans all my life, but, you know, early 2000s, you know, AE was everything. And so when you come in, you know, it's like you got to prove yourself. And it's like, you know, so everybody's like, are you starting? You winning all these awards while you was at Gibbs, but now you're at AE. And so can you do it here? And so that was my biggest motivation, was to prove that, you know, from day one that, you know, I wasn't a byproduct of being at a school that wasn't good at the time. You know, I'm a pretty good football player, and I can play all these sports. So that was just my byproduct. And then at the same time, you know, like having family on that team, you know, I remember Brian used to say, like, we don't breed no slouches in this family now. So you're gonna have to play, you know. And J Mike was the same way. So, you know, it was kind of one of those prideful things for me and myself to really want to make sure I put out.
For sure, man. It's cool to hear you bring up the word pride, because I always tell people I wasn't living here, but you couldn't tell me as a kid I wasn't gonna move to Knoxville and go to Austin East. That's how big the impact was when I came here and I saw what it was all about, and I saw people that look like me, you know, having a lot of success and being excited about it. It was a big thing, man. It was a big thing as a kid growing up, you know. So yeah, man. I shout out to you, man. And J Mike also spoke about the brotherhood, man. So you said family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's a different thing with AE. It's you are family no matter what. You know, it's at the end of the day you're gonna come back to it and you look at it. You know, it's hard. You know, that's just a class thing. They say it's hard to be a road runner. It's truly hard to be one and finish it. But once you can finish it, you know, the pride that it has. You know, it's the long history. And I think when people start really digging down into the, you know, the roots and getting to like the history of just the school and how many prestigious people actually went to school there, that, you know, it tries to get covered up by a lot of negative things that that some people outside try to do. But when you look at the history of it and look at the pride of the school, you know, it's something that was definitely strong. Obviously in the 80s, you know, they win everything. And in the early 2000s, as we, you know, really took command of a lot of different things. And I think, you know, I almost equated to like, you know, I was in the 80s, they were like Black Wall Street and when it came to sports in at Austin East. And then we was on the verge in you know, early 2000, I think, and some things just happened to kind of derail us a little bit, but it's still a prideful place. And, you know, still love to see it continue to get back to that. We just got to get some things in place and move some pieces around.
For sure.
How did that go?
Say it again. Sorry.
The recruiting process. How did that go?
So that was kind of weird. Biggest thing with that one is just, so when I went to AE coming out, you know, I knew it was the biggest thing was D1 or bust for me coming out. You know, that's why I went, you know, better opportunities, D1 or bust. And so we had a little problem. And I'd say probably we had a run of probably a good 4 years of guys just not finishing, you know, in school, going and quitting. And I never forget my recruiting process. My junior year, I started getting all these, you know, getting the letters. You go home, get the letters in the mail. So it's all great. You know, you don't know all the stuff, so you're just happy. I started getting the phone calls. My people started calling my moms, and people started doing things. And, you know, we on the east side, we don't know. You're getting, you know, Louisville's and MTSU's and Vanderbilt's and Auburn's and Wake Forest's. They coming in and out your house, and they at the school every day. But, you know, you don't really know the whole process. You just kind of thinking. But I never forget it when it was two things. I went to UT's camp, and this is my disdain for UT. So I know you're a UT fan, but you'll never get me to like it. It's my disdain for UT. So I went to UT, and I never forget it. So I go to UT, ball out this camp, have a phenomenal camp, and their coach looks at me, he's like, "Oh man, he's a great player," you know, blah blah blah. It was two coaches there at the time, and they were like, and one of the coaches said, "He's just too small." And so I was like, "I'm too small," and so they didn't recruit me. So they chose not to recruit me. Then they was like, "Wait, you know, he's he's an in-city guy. We could try to get him as for cheap. So they didn't recruit me, and when they didn't recruit me, it made a lot of other schools pull back because they were like, well, if your hometown of UT not gonna recruit you, why would we recruit you?
Right.
So they made a lot of other schools pull back. And then I had the University of Cincinnati call me and say, man, this guy played Division I football somewhere, but we're just not gonna recruit from that school. And what they were saying was because it's just a long history of a lot of kids not finishing.
Yeah.
And so it killed me. And so that just it killed me for a while. You know, really just brought me down. I ended up signing. I ended up signing and going on and playing. Then I trained at UT Chattanooga. But you know, the opportunities that I could have had I known some things a little bit different, you know, would have been better. But it all worked out for the best. And it was funny because the two guys that they recruited over me at UT, they ended up transferring to Chattanooga, and both of them became my backups. So kind of a little rewarding, I guess you could say.
I love that, man.
So that was a little rewarding piece. And they would ask me all the time, you know, my guy Vince, he transferred to Chat. He'd ask me all the time, like, why you ain't go to UT? I was like, man, it's a whole story into that. He's like, man, you way better than the safeties that be playing there. Yeah. He's like, you like Eric Berry, like you and Eric, you know, would mesh really good. I think it was like Eric was like his first freshman year and stuff like that. So he's like, y'all would have meshed really good. I was like, man, this is a long story. He's like, man, you should think about it. And I was like, dog, I'm already too deep in. I can't make this move again. I got to sit out and do all that. But I remember having that conversation with Vince when he transferred down to Chattanooga. Just about some of the things.
Man, that's crazy, man. It's crazy it's crazy the path we go on, man. But
yeah,
for sure, man, for sure. So thinking about in college, Coach, man. So who was somebody that brought it in college, man? I know you met some characters, man.
Yeah, we had some guys in college. You know, D'Angelo Williams played at Memphis.
Oh yeah,
and, yeah. D'Angelo Williams was at Memphis. He was you know. Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, both at Arkansas. You know, those guys were phenomenal. Jay Cutler at Vandy, when he was at Vandy, was dynamite. A lot of guys that went to Appalachian State could play, but D'Angelo Williams though was probably, you know, I know Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden was really good, but I remember playing against D'Angelo, and I remember being in the corner one time gonna try to make a play on him. When I tell you, like, this is the craziest thing, and I'm at the pause in the middle of it because this dude's thighs were so big. Pause. Like, I came around the corner and he had the ball and he was making a move. And this man, I was like, this dude's thighs is huge. And I just remember looking at his thighs. Like, again, pause. Like, I was like, how the hell am I gonna tackle this dude? And before I knew it, he turned the corner and he was gone for like 60. And my coach came to the sideline. I was like, you know what, what's going on? You came out the corner. And I was like, yeah, man, I did. And I was like, I just told him, I said, man, I did, but I froze. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I was like, coach, I mean, you know, it was 80,000 people at the game and I just froze. And I think I'm like a redshirt freshman. And you know, it's like a redshirt freshman playing in front of 80,000, and I freeze up. And so he was there. We had a good game, played well against him, tackled him. You know, it was that first time getting to tackle him. I was like, oh, okay. NFL and play. And you know, you see guys like Darren McFadden, you know, playing against those guys in Arkansas was huge. They had Peyton Hillis at the time. Yeah. It was probably a really, really good game for me. Actually, we had a really good game against Arkansas. We were winning. We actually held Darren McFadden to his lowest rushing total of the season in that game. Had a pretty nice, you know, I had some good hits on him. Anytime you get a big hit on guys like that going to the league. But when they had Peyton Hillis, Felix Jones, Darren McFadden, I mean, they had a serious rushing attack. And I tell you what, Peyton Hillis, that was a big boy. He brought it. And there was a reason why the Browns tried to make him turn into a running back, but it was a couple of things that we saw in that game. You know, you can see it in their eyes a little bit, and a couple of times in that game, you can see it in their eyes. They were thinking like, "There's no way these guys from Chattanooga should be hitting us like this. Like these dudes are bringing it." And I just remember we was bringing it. And at the end of the game, you know, McFadden comes on. I was like, "Man, dog, you done hit me the hardest I done got hit all year. He done going against LSU. He going against guys that playing at, South Carolina, UT. I think just after that game he played us, I think that was the next week he went against South Carolina and torched them for like 250, 260. And so, it's when you can see that, you see those things. We always tell every time playing in the FCS and playing against, so Chattanooga playing against UT, there's no difference in the skill guys.
No.
It's the linemen up front.
Right.
That's where the difference is. So when a 4-4 is a 4-4. It don't matter. But them linemen up front, that's that big difference, and that was a big thing. So those guys playing against those big name guys, but there's a lot of guys that people probably don't even know about that could just flat out play. Playing at the smaller level schools. I remember a guy named Jason Foster. Now that was probably like my nemesis.
Yeah.
In college, like that, he little small, shifty guy, about 5'8". Man, he could get it though. And I mean, he was probably like my nemesis because like he was so hard to tackle because he was like you could never figure out what he was doing.
Yeah.
You studying the tapes on him, trying to figure out his moves. What is he like in open field? And you just couldn't figure him out. And he was just tough. He had a little stint with the Dolphins for a minute. And but we'd always battle. We'd always battle. I probably missed the most tackles in my career against that guy. It's bad when you can say that. Like I know I made his highlight tape a couple of times. Unfortunately, but but he was a really good player. He was a really good player, really talented player, and it was always good because he brought the best out of me, especially in the open field. Because he was like a little jitterbug. It was tough.
For sure.
Man. So, college, what would you have changed about it? Would you have changed anything about it?
Oh, college. First of all, I mean, everything has for a reason, for one. But I definitely would say, looking back at it now, just some of the things I would definitely do. Everybody knows hindsight 2020. You bust your ass a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You definitely get in there and grind. You spend a lot more time. The one thing I would definitely change is relationships. It's got to build more relationships. I was always, I'm kind of gonna do my thing. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna bust my ass and do that. But I should have built better relationships with my coaches. That's one of the things I probably say that's probably my biggest regret. That's one thing I tell a lot of my kids now that's going to play. Man, build a relationship with your coaches. Like talk to them, go to their office. Spend time with them. That type of relationship, communication. Have those hard conversations with those coaches because in this game, and everybody knows in this world, it's about the relationships that you build. They're gonna help you get that next job. And so that was the one thing I wish I would have done a whole lot better. Not going to different schools and all that stuff. Just built better relationships with those college coaches because of the fact that you just never know. Like you never know which guy gonna end up being at this place, and he remember you and he wants you, and you got a good relationship with him. I had a decent relationship with some of them. Some of them I didn't, because it just kind of how it was. It wasn't meant for us to have a good one. But outside of that, relationship, obviously everybody wishes they can go back in and work hard, change some things up, do some things differently. But the relationship piece is probably the number one thing going into it. Anything you're doing, I think, is the one thing you got to do better at is the relationship building.
For sure. Coach, so thinking back when you first got to school, what was, as a freshman, what was the toughest part about adjusting, man, from high school to college to playing on the college level?
Man, so all right, so funny story. So I get there, I get to school my freshman year, you coming in and you just trying to figure out all the landscapes. You sizing everybody up. Everybody know it. You looking at, okay, who you at? When I get there though, and I'm balling, doing everything that I need to be doing, but I break my ankle.
Oh man!
So my freshman year, so it's two things. Before I break my ankle, but it's two things. I break my ankle my freshman year, so that's what ends up pushing me into a red shirt. But when I get there, the biggest thing I can tell you is that it ain't no joke. You talking about my schedule getting used to from high school, you know, you're doing that, but your schedule getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then you don't see your bedroom again until 10 o'clock. That's probably the roughest thing. I never forget it. I remember getting in there, and I love football. I just said I played when I was 7 years old, played my whole life. I never forget two things. I remember they was like, hey, we got stretch teams meeting, and I remember telling myself, and they wanted me to be a returner and do all this before I broke my ankle. I remember telling myself, shit, I'm going to the room. I ain't going to that meeting. I better go to sleep. And I tell you, they came in there and drugged me out that daggone bed.
Oh man.
Said, oh, now you getting in this meeting. You don't have no choice. I thought y'all said if you want to play on special teams. They was like, yeah, that was a formality. That was just something we say.
Right.
That's like us saying, oh, it's voluntary workouts. That's when I learned it real quick. Anything that's voluntary, that ain't really voluntary.
Right.
So it's mandatory. So that was the first thing. You know, I got drug out the bed, go to this meeting. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I remember my body just hurting every day. You know, the speed of the game is a whole lot faster too, no matter what. But I remember calling, and I remember calling my mama. I remember calling. This is what I tell all my kids. Tell the story every time my kids sign. I remember calling my mama and saying, "Mom, I don't know if I can do this." I was like, I'm tired. I'm hurting. I was like, Mama. My mom was like, my mom was just listening for a minute. You know, she's like, being a good mama. She was listening. I was like, Mama, I gotta get up. I gotta get up at 5:45. I gotta be down in the room by 6. I said, I get to meetings at 6. I gotta go to breakfast. I gotta do this. And we ain't even start. We ain't even started school yet. So we still in camp. We like a weekend. We might be 4 or 5 days in. And I'm making this phone call. So my mama listening for a minute. And my mama finally was like, okay. She's like, okay, well, you can quit playing football, but you can't bring your ass back home. So I don't know what to tell you. So she was like, so I don't know what to tell you. You've been playing this game all your life. Figure it out. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And hung up on me. And when I tell you that was the biggest thing in my life that just really propelled me, because at that moment in time, like I was a kid that was willing to quit. I was willing to quit. I was willing to just be like, if my mom would have said, okay, baby, what do you need us to do? Do you need us to come get you? I would have quit. I mean, probably, you know, I say 9 out of 10 times I would have said, come get me. Because I was looking for somebody to tell me to find a way out. And she was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can quit playing. But then I started realizing, like, well, if I quit playing, what the hell I'm going to be here for? Like, I ain't going to just be here and not, you know. So she hung up. And I give my mom credit for that, you know, every day, because I think that's the toughest thing for a lot of our kids, for their parents to actually say that. And she hung up.
Yeah.
When she hung up on me, it made me realize, okay, get your shit together. Start doing this thing like you know how to do it. Figure it out. Develop a schedule. And I needed a schedule. You know, that was the biggest thing, schedule. Go to bed, wake up, learn how to get through it. And that's when I started developing that mindset. It was like, look, it's seniors that are here. If there's seniors here, then that means it can get done. Yeah. And so that was just a whole process. And then once I started going, I started feeling good. And then I break my ankle. So then I break my ankle, and it's like, oh shit. And now it's like, okay, what's he gonna do? Because now I'm not gonna play. And I tell you, it just that whole time. And then I started developing that mindset of like, I refuse to go back home to Knoxville. I refuse to go home and have somebody say, why are you here? I thought you was in school. And I tell my kids, I think that's the worst feeling in the world. Yeah. Is when somebody you know asks you, like, why are you here? Or like, I thought you was in school. And so I break my ankle, you know, and that was terrible. But I ended up going to every class. I never missed class my freshman year. Never missed class. Had a good you know, GPA and everything. And I just fought myself then. Because I had that why. I developed a why to get through it. And it was because I ain't want them being able to be back home and be like, yeah, you just another one from the east side and ain't gonna make it. And I just didn't want to be that. And so I pushed, I fought. It was tough, but once I got through it, it was once I got through that first semester, it was pretty smooth sailing after that. I knew I could finish it in.
What did you end up majoring in?
So I majored in exercise science.
Wow.
So I majored in exercise science and got kinesiology and all that stuff. So I started out in physical therapy. Mm-hmm. Then I went into a professor's class, and they was like, they told me that no kid had ever passed the class the first time. So I dropped that shit and then changed my major to exercise science. I was like, I ain't doing no repeats now.
No.
Right.
So, but yeah, I ended up doing exercise science. I found a more passion in exercise science and kinesiology and stuff like that. That I knew that a little bit better how the body works and training and all that stuff. So that was good for me.
For sure. So, Coach, man, what I want to get into, Wood, he can't talk to you really about this because he's from the other side of town.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's the hardest thing I got to do. This is tough for me right here.
I know, Coach, but Coach, man,
beat my best friend up for a whole semester in college until I decided to take him in. I wouldn't even let him work out with me. I just pushed him around for a while until I said, all right, okay, you cool now.
Yeah, you good now. You good.
But Coach, man, so lead me to the path of how you end up coaching at your alma mater, man.
Yeah, so
I mean, I think this is cool.
Yeah, that's it's crazy. It's so, like I said, pretty crazy again. The head coach leaves AE, and then one of my close friends, he calls me and says, "Hey man, the job open at AE." And so I just pick up the phone immediately and call Armstead at the time. So I could pick up the phone and say, "Hey, look, I want to apply for the job. I leave my voicemail. I want to apply for the job, be the head coach. Love the opportunity to come down and speak with you." And the rest of after that, he did the thing. But I always revert back to talking to my buddies about it. I said, man, look, I was like, I ain't going back to Knoxville. So I was one of I ain't coming back. I ain't going back to the crib. I was in chat at the time. I was like, I ain't going back to the crib. I was like, man, look, the only way I go back to the crib. And he's like, well, you gonna coach? And I was like, hell no, I ain't coaching. I was like, I mean, I would, but the only way I go back to the crib is if I coach at AE. I gotta be the head coach. Like, I can't do it if I ain't the head coach at AE because it just ain't gonna work. Like, my mindset ain't gonna work. This is this might be like 3-4 months prior to this actually happening. And so, and then it happens. I'm like, shit, okay. So he called me, I get the interview, I do the interview, and I did it. I think I did an excellent job. Obviously I got the job, but I had a plan played out. And so it was kind of one of those, it was a God-given thing. I truly believe that it was something that he wanted me to do, to give back to my community, to give back to those kids at that time, really help develop that program. We was in shambles, losing coaches doing crazy stuff. Yeah. We had no stability at that position as a head coach. And, and like I said, I just think the timing was perfect. I had just retired from playing arena ball. I was really wanting to settle down, start a family, and do all that stuff. So the timing was perfect for me to do it. And they gave me the opportunity. I'm forever grateful for that opportunity they gave me. And it was the only place I was going to coach in Knoxville. I wasn't going to go anywhere else. When I say loyalty runs deep, it runs deep. Probably a little too loyal, but it was never a situation I ever thought like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and coach, so I'm gonna do like this. I'm looking for the next thing. It just wasn't in me. I wasn't. Once I built that circle and I had the AE red and blue running through me, there was never another place I was gonna ever coach at. I just couldn't see myself. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Like, people used to ask me all the time, like, would you go over? And I definitely wasn't gonna go across the street. That was never gonna happen.
I did, Coach. I did, Coach.
Yeah.
But I ain't from here.
Everybody make mistakes. Still got time to right your wrongs. But some people's unfortunate. You didn't know no better. Like you said, you ain't from here. You didn't know.
Power forward is going down, baby. Hey, now talk, man.
Yeah, just and I got the job, and then so that was just the whole process, and then it was back to that. Let's build this pride back, because beforehand, it was, for all the social media and friends and stuff like that. I mean, you talking about 84, and it was knocked down. It was, I don't like you, you don't like me. Mm. It is what it is. Y'all over there, we over here. Don't come on this side. We ain't coming over there. When we come over there, we playing, we doing what we doing. It was the rivalry. It was what it was, and it was for the for the culture on both sides. It was the East Side versus North Broadway, so it was kind of that ordeal, and and that was huge. That was always a huge. All those games back in the day was real huge from time to from everybody. Just when they had their runs and we had our runs, it was always a good one. So getting that job at AE just meant that it was really special for me to get that opportunity to really give back. And that's kind of how I looked at it, just giving back, being able to say, okay, I'm a guy, I'm a product. Like I'm probably the only product of Austin East to actually coach at Austin East, like actually graduated, and I actually coached there too. Like Sam Anderson, he taught at Austin East and he coached there, but Sam Anderson graduated from Gibbs. And then now you got Anthony Anderson who graduated, and now he's coaching girls basketball. But I always thought that was really, really special for me to be one of the first to graduate from the school and actually come back and actually coach at the school.
Yeah. So, Coach, what was your mindset going into coaching at Austin East your first year with just being a former player, so you know what the school offers? What was your mindset going into it?
Yeah, so I remember in my interview, I told him, I said, I know the dynamics of what we got here. I remember telling him, I said, my first year we're gonna probably be really bad. It was funny. I had everything kind of almost planned out, and I don't really know how it happened, but I was like, we're gonna be pretty bad my first year. I said, because we gotta build a discipline up, right? We gotta get this thing going the right way. I know it's gonna be some issues that we gotta have, and so I had it in my mind from the get-go. I was like, hey, let's get this thing right. Let's focus on building this thing the correct way. Let's work on winning multiple seasons. So let's build a program, and let's not focus on just a season. So when I took the job, that was it from day one. So hey, we're gonna work on building this thing. We're gonna work on to get the discipline right, get the kids focused, and get their minds back on the game, because kids lost the love of the game. So once I was able to do that, once I was able to start that process, my next process was, okay, get as many young kids as I can get playing the right away, because everybody knows that young kids are going to grow. And so we took our lumps those first couple years, just to allow those kids to start developing. And once I did that, I remember someone said, we can start being a title contender year in and year out. I said, I'll be top 5 by my 3rd year. And I was like, you think you'll do that? I was like, yeah, I'll be top 5. I said, and hopefully by the end, it'll be me or somebody else going to come out the East. I'll have it to that point. And I had that mindset coming in that, we were going to be that type of team, respected. You were going to fear us, in a simple fact that when you came to play us, that we were going to do things that were going to allow our athletes to be better, and I want to have a total involvement. I never wanted it to be about one person on our team, and I think over the wears it just showed that we were able to have multiple guys have success, for us offensively, and then we had guys that were able to do things defensively. So we just really cared about them. And then my other part was, I said, I'm gonna be the coach that I want my coach to have. And that's what I'm going to do. I want somebody to coach. I'm going to coach these kids the way I want my coach to coach me, and the way I want somebody to coach my son. I wanted to be in that way, and that was just about the passion, the commitment, but then the accountability piece. It's holding them accountable. And so that was from day one. I came in day one. Like I tell them, day one, wet behind the ears, not knowing, but I had a plan. I knew what I wanted to do. And I knew what I could do, and I knew that, we had to do it. We had to stop the bleeding. I'll say it. The bleeding was, we had kids leaving. They were just transferring. We weren't able to stop it, but we put some Band-Aids over for a while, and we kind of got some pieces sewn up. But we stopped some of that bleeding, stopped losing so many kids. That was another big thing, just losing kids to different schools. And so that was my biggest thing, was to shut down those borders as well, is make those kids feel back at home.
Sure. I definitely could relate to that one, Coach, because that was when I first got the job at Vine, that was my biggest thing, was making sure that I got the guys that were supposed to go to Vine if I could convince them to go to Vine. And I had a little bit of success with it, man. It definitely makes a difference, man, when you got guys from the area, man, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's hard. It's tough, you know. And I remember my mom was like, "Why you want to take that job?" I was like, "Because there's no other job I'll take." But it's the hardest job. Coaching in Austin is the hardest job in the and I say in the state, and I know people like, "Why you say the state?" And the reason why I say it, and the reason why I personally believe it's the hardest job to coach in the state is two things. Is one is in Knoxville, technically we only got one all black school. You know, y'all can say what y'all want over across the street, but we got one all black school, right?
Sure.
But you know, in reality, we really only have one all black. And when I say that, it's not like Chattanooga. Chattanooga has 3. You know, Nashville has a ton. Memphis has a ton. So when you comparing an all black school, you usually compare them to other all black schools.
Yeah.
Well, in Knoxville, there's nobody else because you know all of our alumni, they're black, and so when you do that, we don't get some of the same resources. Our zone is small as all get out. You know, you have to compare Austin East. People are trying to compare Austin East to Bearden and Farragut and West. That's not the same demographic. You know, that's not the same. Yeah, they might have some of those types of kids. So it's not the same demographic. So when it comes to those things, you know, we get looked at, we get shot, we get shunned on. They talk about the academics. You know, when you in Memphis, you got all these all black schools that can be compared to all black schools. Pearl Cone, why they're having so much success in Nashville, is because they are the most dominant all black school, academically and on the field. So black kids want to go there. Well, in Knoxville, we only have one. And when you hear all the negativity about it, it makes it tough for kids to really want to come to AE, because we're not in our community. We compare ourselves to other people that are like us. Well, there's nobody else like us in Knoxville, so that's why it's the toughest job, because there's only one of us. Then it's another toughest job just because you have the city people highways that don't want to see us successful.
Yeah.
Because if that becomes and they get denied and say that, but if that wasn't the case, they never would have put these new zoning rules in back in the 80s when they wanted more black kids to go to some of these other schools. I mean, we can be honest on here. Like there should not be one black kid that goes to Carter. Just be honest. Like, let's think about Carter. Like, Carter's in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Why in the world why there shouldn't be one that goes there? But we have, they wanted to make sure they diversify schools, right? So that they can go to Carter. They did that,
Gibbs too.
Yeah, and Gibbs too. Gibbs, you can argue because you got the Tazewell Pike and in Central and stuff like that. But yeah, there shouldn't be anybody technically go to Gibbs. No. When you thinking about the zoning, you talked about kids that going to Vine. You got the Skyline full of kids, right? When I was coming up, full of kids. All those kids were zoned for Carter Middle School and Carter High School.
Yeah.
You're talking about Skyline. Talking about, Skyline 5 minutes from Austin East.
What?
Like, and 5-7 minutes from Vine. But when I'm in high school, all those kids are zoned for Carter. Yeah. Now there's no kids in that area. Now those kids are zoned for Austin East. Well, there ain't no kids that live there now.
No.
Now they zone to go to Vine. So that's why I say it's always hard. It's one of the toughest jobs there is. And like you said, when you're trying to get those kids and trying to shut those borders down, it's tough. It's an uphill battle. We in our community still they have to fight and be patient. I tell everybody too, it's, one thing about Austin East, I thought it was a 5-year project and it really was a 10-year project. I thought some things I could do would be in 5 years. I was there for 7. But it was really a 10-year project because I really needed to focus on some things. And I think, before I left, I was in the process of making a change. And the next change was we had to really take over our Little League programs and then combine Vine with us a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was just that I had to get to that process. And there would have been these next, like I said, these next 3 years would have been that process of, okay, we can do this now.
Yeah.
And now with 5 points to Walter P now being rebuilt, now we have an opportunity to try to make that switch back. So, but that's why I say it's tough. That's why I say there ain't nowhere else in the state where you lose 2 projects too. They tore down Walter P and Austin Holmes. Well, that was all our kids.
Right.
Shipped them all out to Lionsdale and Christianberry. We ain't got no more kids now, so that's a big thing.
That definitely makes it hard. Coach, man, one thing that I wanted to give you big shots out for, man, you and your coaching staff, man. Linwood knows how passionate I am about the kids and all that kind of stuff. But when you guys started showing up at Vine, man, y'all don't know, man, I was so happy, man. Because I want to tell you, man, I had been waiting on that kind of stuff for a long time. Definitely, probably felt like you probably recognized that more of that needed to be going on. But y'all definitely was taking the steps to really just build relationships with the kids. And that's what it need to get back to.
Yeah, for sure. That was just a process, man. Honestly, man, it was something that was long overdue. Even when Bilal was there at Vine at the point in time, whatever. My little cousins was at Vine, Sedarius and Cheyenne. And I had little Shannon was there too, Blair. But the reason for us it took me way longer than I wanted to is because a lot of times I kept losing coaches, right. And so I spent half a daggone January trying to hire people and trying to find people to get them ready to get going. And so I'm running my weight program, and then my weight programs this time, and then Vine game is at that time, and it was so tough. And then once I started being able to, like what I said, it was probably like a 10-year project. Once I was able to start doing it, I had some stuff in place that would have really worked this year. We were going to start really pushing more coaches into Vine consistently. It was tough. I think a relationship at Vine right now was really damaged. We had some issues at Vine when we tried to come down there. There was a relationship that was between some administrators or whatever that just wasn't good. I say this, when we came to y'all's games, that was great. When we used to try to come down to the school to see, it was always terrible. And they would give us it'd be like we get like 3 kids to talk to. And it was always hard that way. And so we always we gotta get to these games, And I always tell people there's a lot of things that are underneath the surface that some people don't know, that when you start pulling layers back, you start realizing okay, this is kind of why some things and some issues, why we haven't really been seeing some things. But to your point, we were definitely trying to get down there more. We should have been down there more, and that was my fault. I had to chasing some kids around, chasing some coaches around a little bit. We should have been able to do a little bit more, but getting down into those games. But we definitely try to catch a lot of them. I remember watching, watching all of them, from Kawan and Sedarius and Cheyenne and Booker, Jaquez, Booker, and to that next group of kids with little Shannon and Ahaja and all those guys that was playing. I remember watching those guys. I remember talking to them, catching a lot of the games. I tell them I always catch our games watching out hosting and Vine. So it was definitely good, and I definitely think that relationship has to be better. It needs to be like a little recruiting base. T-Dub they can't get me because I ain't in Georgia no more. So I'm in Georgia, so I ain't in Tennessee. So definitely needs to be a recruiting violations need to be happening.
Yes, sir.
There, because ain't many times I came to Vine and seen 7 coaches from another high school that ain't got no affiliation, ain't got no zoning to do there. But
Coach, look, hey Wood, I gotta put them on the spot. Coach, they was at the game because they had to come see the show, man. They had to see why it was so packed on Martin Luther King, man.
They came. They also seen they see that them 6'2" 8th graders. They're they came in there trying to cherry pick. Shoot, shoot. You see,
that's what
Catholics sitting there handing out scholarships after the games. Oh, I know. Hey, I told them. I said, I know why you're here. I tell them too. I know why you're here. I'm here too. I was like, but and so, but nah, it was definitely good. You had it right. You had it going well for sure. And that's good for those kids playing those big time games and being able to have that crowd like that and honestly, seeing coaches want them like that, that's good, giving them that kind of that feel of wanting to be wanted. That's what kids want. They want to know that they want it and that they feel like they can have a relationship. We lost that on a few of them, but I always know that it does my heart some good when the ones that we did lose out on, they see me, they'll talk to me before they'll talk to their coaches they might have played 4 years for. Or they might have tried to come back to A, but I'm like, hey, we couldn't get you back, but, I still care about you, a little bit. I would have cared about you a lot more if you played for me, but try to help you what I can, You're still a product of the East Side, so. But for sure, though, that was good. We definitely needed to do more things with Vine for sure. And I try to hire any teacher. That was like, any teacher that want to coach, I'll hire you. I try to get a coach at Vine. I just couldn't get one planted.
Right.
Get one planted down there. So.
Right. For sure.
And so in today's world, man, Coach, you said it, man, holding kids accountable. But, man, it's so many kids that if you push them too far, they'll transfer portal.
Yeah.
How you feel?
Yeah, I mean, that's that. I mean, so I think it's two things. It's two things. And another thing, and both of you guys know, you close to the middle school, and y'all both won championships and did a great thing. Y'all build relationships. Like, I can push you as far as I need to push you if I build a relationship with you. I can do whatever it is that I need you to do to become a player if I build a relationship. Once I built the relationship with those kids, I didn't lose any transfers. I ain't had no kid transfer on me. Right. I had some kids, they was like, I ain't had none. I had some of the craziest kids. I had kids, even when we were bad, we were losing. Kids like, but at the end of the day, they weren't going to transfer. And it's the relationship part. These coaches ain't building relationships with the kids. Oh. And that's just really what it comes down to. If you only thing you caring about is that kid when he in that jersey, then you just caring about and that's the same thing with college football. I mean, everybody knows college football is a business. The last coaches that are ever going to care about you more likely going to be your high school coaches, because of the fact they see you every single day. But it's the relationships. I don't agree with the transfer stuff. It's there in place for the kids. I like it for the fact that it's there in place for the kids, because I wish that they would put it a little bit better in high school. Because in high school, we're so manipulated as kids, and you can follow me on this. Think about this. I can promise your kid, he's going to do this and that. But once he comes to my school, I got him. He can't transfer back out because he got to sit out a year. Yeah. And then I can tell you all these other stories to make you feel like, well, I'm stuck.
Right.
But, there's no accountability to the coach. There needs to be something in place to protect the kids, and it's the inner city kids, and it's the kids at AE, it's the kids at inner city any school, because we know that, that when they always say we need more athletes, what they're really saying, but then the coach don't have to fulfill those promises, right? And it's different because in college, if you don't fulfill those promises, transfer portal. Okay, cool. I'll put a waiver in. I'll get this. I'll get eligible. Because I got millions of dollars of people fighting to get me eligible. But in high school, we ain't nobody putting up money for kids to get eligible. So, they're coaching them hard. That's a different thing. But I think the coaches are not building relationships. The coaches aren't being held accountable. Then I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna say the parents. The parents always what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for my son? What can you do for my son? I can give your son a great opportunity to play. Yeah. I can teach them how to be disciplined. I can hold them accountable. And hopefully with me doing all those three things, I can turn your son into a great man. What else you need? But you got parents that's looking for this fast handout. They looking for this apparel. They looking for what can you promise? Can you get my kid to this thing, this, that? I tell people all the time, they be like, oh, I don't want my son going to AE. And they may say, I want my son going to, Fulton or whatever too. Why you don't want your son going there? I had a great lady, and I'm trying to get kids. I don't want my son going to AE. I want better for my son. What you mean? Well, I just think that my son needs to go get a better education. Oh, okay, where are you going, to Webb? No. He gonna go to West. And I'm like, West? And I start thinking, okay, last time I checked, West was a public school. Yeah. They teach the same stuff we teach at Austin East.
Right.
It's the same test. It's the same test. It's the same curriculum. It's the same state test. the teachers got to pass the same stuff, the same credentials to be a teacher. So how you gonna get a better education at West? And then, you know, we had this big thing when they were trying to take Project Grad away from AE in Fulton. They were trying to say like an A out in Farragut was better than an A at AE. It's the same A. Like we take the same test. Like I don't get like what, you know what I'm saying. And that's just, but that's a lot of times when our people, and I say our people, I'm talking about our community. They start getting brainwashed a little bit. They start thinking like, but dang, if I go out here and hang out with the white folks a little bit, you know, it might be a little bit better opportunity. Yeah. Your opportunities are where you create it. You know, we know that your opportunities are where you create it. Yeah. You know, I went to AE, I graduated, I'm successful. I created my opportunity. You know, you went to Fulton, graduate, you successful. You coming from New York, you're like, you create your opportunities. So these kids transferring, these parents transferring, is like you're not teaching your son or your daughter to create their opportunities, to create their success. And we're trying to find the easiest way for them to do it. What? And so that's what the transfer stuff is. Yeah,
I think too, Coach. My bad, Will. Go ahead.
My thing with that is, it's like, man, if it's too hard on you and your parent let you transfer, or oh no, I don't want my son there because you too hard on them. What you think they're gonna do when they get to college? What you think they're gonna do after college when they gotta go in the good? So it's like, man, if your son can't be coached,
yeah,
they need to quit playing sports.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do anything. Like my coaching philosophy. So he was like, you know, I took the term hard work out of my coaching philosophy. Everybody's like, why you take that out? I was like, because, you know, I don't like it because I can make you work hard. I can do stuff to make you work hard. Like I can just give you a task, you work hard, you do it. But like the problem we have is like what you just saying is that we're not willing to compete.
Yeah.
We got to compete for these things in life. We got to compete for these jobs. Yeah. And if something don't go my way, I got to keep competing to try to make sure that I'm getting it. If I'm not competing, I'm not going to make this money. I'm going to stay in this Section 8 housing. I'm going to stay on these food stamps. I'm not competing. I don't have no drive. And so my kids know every day you got to compete. When we go to practice, it was competition every day. Like you was going to get dogged one way or another, and you was either going to get better or you were not. And 9 times out of 10, you had to get better because you didn't want to be on that losing end so often. So yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the mentality a lot of times with our kids, and it goes in, you know, it goes into back to my point about a lot of kids at age that we didn't graduate. They didn't know how to compete.
Yeah. So
when they got to college, like you just said, oh man, these dudes can play. And I heard one of y'all's things the previous time, and I was like, it was like, you know, I gotta have people successful and things like that. It's like you gotta learn how to compete and you gotta do things for yourself. Once you believe it yourself, then that's half the battle. That's 9/10 of the battle. Actually, you gotta believe yourself, and then everybody else will follow in. So
yeah,
for sure. Coach, man, you brought up an interesting point, man. You were saying that you know, like it's up to each individual person to kind of create their own opportunities, right? But
yeah,
man, I'm starting to recognize a different trend, and people are forgetting the power that they have in themselves, right? And they social, and they and they circle and all that kind of stuff. They support group. People are now looking for other people to create those opportunities, and not understanding that, you know, it starts from you and you know what you put into it. You agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely do. You're looking for social media validation right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
People putting in. It's the whole thing. Instagram, I need likes, I need retweets. You know, that's what people are doing, those things to try to get outside influences. It's you know, we talk about it in class all the time. If you put a picture up and you don't get as many likes as you want, you take it down because you feel embarrassed.
Right.
Oh shoot, that didn't pop off like I thought it was gonna do. So nah. So I don't know. So now I gotta ask, should I do this? Should I do that? You know, you see people taking, you know, you see people doing all the time. Like it would be very similar to you guys right now talking about, I'm gonna start this podcast. Okay, are you starting it because you want validation from somebody else? Looking like, no, we started because we want to have good conversations. We want to do this thing. We're not waiting for somebody else to tell me to do it. because like, oh, that's what we do. A lot of times people have these great ideas, but they're waiting for that cosigner. We all say we don't want a yes man, but then people do things like, okay, you gonna be my yes man? And then when they don't have that, they like, okay, nah, I don't want to do those things. I don't want to create that opportunity. I don't want to try that. I don't want to try to, be successful. It's going to be hard. Yeah, we all know how to talk it. It's what are you doing with your actions? Like everybody can talk it. We can talk the great game.
Yeah.
We could talk everything, but it's like, what are you actually doing? Are you actually putting those words into action? And so I definitely agree with your point. I think a lot of people look for that validation, and I think it's a lot dealing with, like I said, dealing with social media. It starts with the kid. I mean, hell, it's the parents too. Hell, they on there hard too. Social media.
Yeah.
So that's where it learns from.
Man, and then Coach, speaking from a competitive standpoint, Wood, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. I don't know how, I'm not a football coach, but I've seen it more so in basketball. I'm going to tell y'all something that I saw that kind of blew me away, man. I was at a national AAU tournament where you got teams from all over the country there.
Mm-hmm.
So, naturally you're going to have some hoopers there. Couple people there that have names, that are on Instagram, on YouTube a lot and all this kind of stuff. I saw other players taking pictures.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Another player like, hey, I'm happy to see he's in my age group and I'm playing against him. And after the game, I want him to take a picture with me. Like, I couldn't believe it.
That's the worst. Yeah, that's because if I take that picture, man, I can get some social media. Everybody chasing a blue check. I tell you now, everybody chasing a blue. I tell you the one thing I hate the worst. And this is again, I could not stand. I could not stand when my kids would talk about another player at another school.
Yeah.
It would drive me crazy. Like if a kid wore another shirt from another school in my class, you taking it off. Like you're gonna have to take it off, turn it inside out, or I'm gonna make a big scene because it just do not walk in with that letter on your no, don't do that. Like don't like they taking pictures. Oh, that's my guy. And I tell my kids all the time, y'all spending time over here, y'all going across the street watching them play. Y'all supposed to be trying to get y'all game right.
Yeah.
Like, let's not worry, And so it would eat me up. But that's because it's everybody friends now.
Yeah.
That shit just be bothering me. Like, everybody friends. Like I know we gotta build relationships and everybody gotta be cool. But like at the end of the day, man, like everybody just so click tight in these high schools. I want my buddy to do this, I want my buddy to do that. Like, yeah, that's fine and all. But when you on that court, I'm about to go against you, you gotta have that Russell Westbrook. Like, I don't like you. Like, I'm a dog. Like, I don't like you, and I'm trying to go at your throat. Like, I used to tell my kids all the time. I try to dunk on my best friend, like from out of nowhere, and he knew it. I was at his neck the whole game.
For sure.
If I'm playing somebody, like I talked about and one of my friends that I wasn't cool with because he went to that other school, but I became cool with. I tried to knock him out in practice because he was coming from out of school, and I tried to decapitate him.
Yeah.
Like, but it was in practice, and then after a while, like I said, we became friends, and I told him like, hey, look, this is just kind of initiation process, it's how it is, you gotta go through this process, it was I told him it was hard but fair, it was a little sad but true. He had to work through it, but that's just the thing, like they don't, and like to your point, because they don't want to compete. I want you to be my friend.
Yeah.
No.
Instead of going at his neck and making him your friend. Like I told my kids, we had a thing, and I told Trey Foster this a lot. I said we have a thing. It's called earn it, respect it, and it's earn it, prove it, then respect it. So you got to earn everything through the week. Then you're gonna prove yourself on Friday night, and the respect that you get after the game is when you see that other player on the other team, he come find you and he shake your hand.
Yeah.
Because of the way you grind it, now he want to be your friend. Like Trey was probably one of my best players. He really embodied that because he would have other coaches coming in like, man, I just love you. I just love you. I just love you. not because he was chasing their friendships. It's because of the way he was putting that work against them. They was like, man, I love this dude, and now they can become friends, and now you can respect that person's game. You know, like that's how it is. Like if I'm playing basketball or something, I don't like you. Now if you giving me buckets, like okay, I got to figure something out. Then we can become cool. I'm like, all right, man, I respect his game. I always tell my kids, you can't hang with people that don't bring the same thing to the table as you do. That can't be your friend. Why am I taking pictures of you? I'm taking pictures with you because you're cool. Like, you know, now you look like a celeb. Now you look like a groupie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look like a groupie out this mug, and this kid's 17, 18 years old. You know what I mean? It's one of those things they used to talk about. Like, you see LeBron James. I'm like, I see LeBron, like, cool. That man my age.
Yeah.
I ain't about to run up to this man and be all happy. Like, hey, I'm excited, but you my age.
Yeah.
So
that happened. I can remember, and we was in Florida playing against Austin Rivers. Doc Rivers up there in the stands. Man, I'm not liking Doc Rivers right now, and I'm definitely not liking Austin Rivers, man. I'm going at your neck.
I'm going at your neck.
Got to.
For sure. I want to beat you. Coach, guess what? One time we was in I think we was in New Orleans with Lil Kobe now.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the championship game. We playing the Florida Vipers, and Rex Walters was coaching from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I'm trying to get the dub. You know, I want to come back to the crib and say, bro, I beat Rex Walters. Yeah. You know, we trying to get the dub, man, but that's the thing, man. A lot of people don't want to compete like that, man. And that was one thing when I got Divine, man, that I definitely wanted to put a stamp on the way that we played and the way we competed at practice. You know, a lot of coaches didn't like the way we played, but my motto was, I don't care if we're down by 30, up by 30, we playing the same way for 4 quarters. That's what you get, no matter what. And I'm going to coach the whole game. If we down by 30, I'm going to coach the same way if we up by 30.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, that's the best thing. You got to. It's just, you're still in the kids. Like I said, you don't make these weak-minded kids. Like I said, I remember my kids would be the best thing ever. My kids would tell. I tell them, y'all can do anything y'all want to on social media. Just don't disrespect you. Just the name on your chest and the name on your back. But the best thing I would always get is when players would always come back and be like, hey, coach, hey, such and such follow me. Like, now you're doing it the right way. You getting followers because of the way you balling. He followed me like, oh man, okay, I followed number. You know, he went and found you on Twitter, Instagram, and followed you because you was balling. You weren't chasing chasing 1K and 2K followers and things like that. Give me a retweet. You was balling, and we had that. We started really developing that, like I said, at AE, that mindset. You know, it's still a work in progress. You know, everybody still got friends, but you know, like I told them, like when you get on that court, you get on that field, you get in between the track lines, whatever it is you're doing, all bets is off. You got to go at their neck.
They put their helmet.
And that's just the only way to do it.
You do.
And I think what you're saying, I think as coaches, as long as coaches can keep preaching that and keep doing that, you know, that works. But you know, when everybody's buddy, it makes it, you know, makes it different, you know.
Yeah. The biggest,
we can be friends some other times.
Well, the biggest compliment you can give one of your buddies, man, is your best shot. When we compete, that's the best I can give you is my best shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's just growing up in, you know, that's just growing up where you grow up. If you grew up in, you know what I'm saying, like you grew up in the hood and you grew up in the streets and you playing, that was it. You knew when you was playing, it don't matter. On Monday, I gotta get you today because I gotta have bragging rights for at least 12 hours.
Exactly.
Be on the playground at Selmore Green, playground, kickball tournaments at Selmore Green, Spring Hill.
Yeah.
They used to go down.
Yeah.
Shit, cabin lunchtime gonna be serious. And I don't know how many times I might have got in an altercation with an elementary school friend because of a sporting event because I lost or he lost or something like that. But that's their rivalry. But that's what makes you tough. That's how you build it. You know, kids ain't even playing these days. These mothers still outside trying to do TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's totally different.
Damn.
So Coach, man, you know, you had a serious run at AE. Walk me through walk me through some of the last days. Like, how did you explain to the guys, man, that coach was moving on, man?
Yeah, man, that was tough, with COVID and everything. But yeah, we, like I said, had a good year. We had a good run, 55 wins, seven seasons, 55 wins. One of the best things about it, in the we had a 5-year span that nobody won more games than us in the city except for Central. Central won two state titles, but we had won more games in the city than anybody else in the city, with 50 plus wins. So, but it was tough, just making that decision. With COVID, I couldn't see the kids, so that was tough. So having to, create a video and trying to get them all online and do that was hard. Not being able to really, really talk to them and kind of letting them know. But I think the biggest thing the last couple of days of it was just everything is like, are you making the right decisions? Are you doing this? What's going to happen? And I remember talking to one of my coaches, and I was like, man, I don't want to have to, lead you guys or doing things like that. He was like, dog, we're going to be good. We still got our jobs. He said, you worried about us and how we going to be doing. We still got our jobs. We good, man. You got to go take your own. And that was just, one of my coaches, Coach Mays, new head coach at AE now, he was just like, man, we good. Like, you got to do this opportunity. It's a big opportunity for you and your family. Do it. We good. And so that was good for me, hearing it from him, and then talking to the kids. Some of the kids I was able to talk to, they understood. And like I told them that I always try to tell our kids, as a man, as a husband, you always got to do what's best for your family.
Yeah.
And I always try to make sure to be that role model for them, because let's just be honest, a lot of kids in our community don't have fathers in a household like that. And so that was a big thing for us, making sure that every coach I had that was married, they show their wife, show how you treat them, respect them, their kids, all that, so you can see what a good husband looks like and a good father looks like. But at the same time, sometimes you got to make decisions that are for your family, that help your family out, and not just think about yourself. And so that was some of my key points to those guys during that time. And just letting them know, like, you just still carry the legacy on. Just keep it going. Like, there's no stopping it. Just, you have to continue to build and create your own destiny, create your new legacy, create your new standards. So that was during that time of that whole transition piece. Like I said, it was tough just not being there because of COVID. But a lot of kids, they understood. They said, we understand, we appreciate it, and things like that. We had some kids that were upset, some kids that were sad, but I told him, if y'all wasn't sad, it means I wasn't doing my job. So
For sure, man. For sure. I know it was tough for me. It was tough for me to make the decision to leave Vine, man, when I did. And the biggest part of it is I had such strong relationships with the guys that was going to be in 8th grade that next year. So, I felt that was my biggest thing, man. A lot of people probably would have thought it would have been, the whole, a Vine coach going to Fulton thing. That wasn't the hardest part. The hardest part was just my guys, because I felt like I was, you know what I mean, like leaving them behind. But at the same time, I felt like I had prepared them some too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. You had to. I mean, like I said, when you build relationships, that's the hardest thing. Yeah. You gotta leave those relationships long. But like when we was talking about coach, I said, if you build them the right way, they'll still be there, and they won't fall away. They won't fall apart. And that's just the key thing. And that's the hardest thing with, you can tell when a coach builds a relationship the right way, because it's tough. When coaches can just, I'm out. You didn't build a relationship. You just in there just to be in there. Right. You ain't really care. You just in there just to be in there, and like, all right, okay, cool. You just bounced. And so you can tell it wasn't. So I know when those are tough times when you battling back and forth, that pit in your stomach, you're going up and down thinking like, damn, I just don't know. And then you finally got to make that decision. Like, hell, you nervous talking to a computer screen.
Right.
I don't know how many times I recorded that message. I think I recorded like 8 or 9 times. Like, delete it. I kept doing it. It's like, shoot. It's like I was just nervous. I'm talking to a screen. I ain't even talking to nobody for real in person. So I was like, had I been in person, I'd probably been in tears and some more stuff. But so it was definitely tough for sure.
But I definitely agree with that, man. If you're not gonna be genuine with kids, man, it's no way you should be coaching. There's no way you're in high school or middle school just for the check. Don't do it.
Nah, yeah, not not in this thing. Shoot. Nah, you got to straight for the love of it, straight for the love of it, straight for the love of it, like the sport, love the kids, just love the challenges, love all that. Yeah, you coaching high school, coaching middle school, you thinking it more so about shaping the youth of the world, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because I'm trying to get this check. Nah, I mean, yeah, it's gas money, and half the time it ain't gas money because you're driving the kids home, so or buying them something to eat. So yeah, you're just doing it because you love it.
So, Coach, man, you said a little bit about Trey, man, but a lot of people don't know how special Trey was. You got to see him every day. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so Trey is unbelievable, man. Trey, I think Trey, for one, I'm gonna say this is Trey's probably, everybody knows I had Darius, who was a phenomenal quarterback. Yeah. Trey was probably, he's arguably probably the best football player that came at Austin East any year. I know Leroy and all them, but what Trey had to endure from the time that he was a freshman to his senior year, man, was unbelievable. Not many kids can go through those stages of things that he went through without putting everything out there. But from the time he was a freshman, his sophomore year, the issues that he had with some things at home, to coming in and playing. I remember telling Trey, and this is how far I think about things. I remember Trey's sophomore year, I came to Trey and said, "Hey, listen, I need to move you to quarterback." And he was looking at me like, "What?" I was like, "Listen, I don't know if this other kid gonna be here next year." I was like, and then after that, it's your senior year. I just don't know who I'm gonna have. Listen, man, I got to move you to quarterback. And Trey was just like, Trey smiles like crazy all the time. He's like, all right, okay. I said, listen, I'm gonna have you do this stuff right here. I'm gonna work with you. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be straight. Hopefully I ain't never got to play yet quarterback. And then sure enough, that year I got quarterback Chris Hunter. Sure enough, Chris Hunter does some things that makes me mad, and I bench him. So I bench him and I start Trey in the game. I said, Trey, you starting. And Trey goes out, he plays, and he actually throws his first touchdown pass his sophomore year, and everything is, pretty good. And then, obviously he comes in his junior year, and I'm like, hey, you're going to battle with this other kid for the starting spot. And I look at Trey and I say, you're going to battle him, but damn it, I expect you to win it. If you lose it, I'm going to be pissed. And so he goes out to practice that day, his junior year, not a quarterback at all whatsoever, his junior year. And he's out there, throwing a ball. Shit looks like he's throwing a knuckleball. I don't know what the hell's going on. The coach is probably looking at me like, what? Coach done lost his mind. I like, listen, it's going to work. So then we start going in, and then basically Trey just worked every day. And the one thing about Trey, man, he works. He competes every day, weight room, on the field. And I just seen that competitive mindset, and he got great leadership skills. He didn't like him because of the fact that people follow him. And so it just led everything up. His junior year, he had a solid year for us, first year ever playing a position, really solid year. And then his senior year, we come back, and he's still thinking like, in his mind, he thinking like, and you gotta realize this, Trey does not want to play quarterback. He don't want to play it. Like, he don't want to play. He probably done told everybody that. He never told me that. He never mentioned it one time that he didn't want to play. He might have told his mama. He might have told anybody that listened to him. Yeah. I don't want to play this. But he never said this. He came in every day and worked. And in his senior year, we start out slow, and he's thinking, man, it's me. I'm having a bad year, yada, yada, yada. And then next thing you know, it just starts clicking. It starts developing. He just starts working. He busted his butt in the weight room, did everything, and then all of a sudden Trey starts putting together a pretty good year at quarterback. Now people are starting to think like, oh, this kid's a quarterback. And I always find it was funny, like, man, take him out, you don't need to be playing terrible. And then all of a sudden this kid gets scholarship offers to play quarterback. Yeah. And it's funny, like, this kid never wanted to play it, and he wanted to quit. He never told me. I knew he did, but I kept pushing him, and then he ends up producing one of the best seasons arguably in high school when you're talking about a kid throwing for over 2,000 yards and rushing for almost 2,000 yards and in a season, and you getting high praises from coaches coming out and just saying like he's the best player they done played against all year. Or he's one of the best players they done played against in the last 10 years. And you start thinking about some of those coaches saying that and who they've played against. But Trey's just a remarkable person, and the reason why that is his character is unmatched. You know, he's going to do everything the right way. He's going to smile. You know, there's not one teacher probably in that building in Austin East could say anything negative about Trey. They loved him. You know, from the janitors to the head principal. You know, they loved Trey. He smiled every day, did everything right, had fun, and so again, I think he's going to do special things at ETSU. And I told Trey I expect to he'll have an opportunity to play on Sunday because of the fact he has a why. And that is the most important thing. When you have a why, what's going to drive you consistently. I think if he could stick with it, keep going, and keep producing like he's been doing, staying healthy and do all that, I think Trey has an opportunity to play on Sunday for sure. Truly believe that.
Man, I love that dude, man. That dude, he was he transferred to Vine my first year, and instantly, man, probably within a month, you know, Trey was like he was like he was like one of my kids or something, man. And Trey got super close, man. He's a real infectious kid, man. But we got super close, and we've stayed, remain close. And now, man, Trey's a part of my family, man. We consider Trey family, man. He was at my wedding, and he's good friends with my wife and stuff like that, man. So he's a good kid though, man. Cause you said it though, man. He got his why, and to think about all of the things that he used to overcome and still walk in that school with a smile on his face, Coach. Like it's all good. Kids like him motivate you as a coach, right? Because
and make the job easy.
We have certain things going on, and we want to, you start thinking about kids like him, and he gonna come in that day and give you everything he got, Coach.
Everything,
he got. So
and he's for Trey, we like I said, we developed from his freshman year on, and with everything, it just, like I said, the character, you can trust Trey. When Trey said he was having a bad day, cool, you having a bad day, I got you, I believe you, son. Trey, like, I'm sick, you sick, cool, I believe, don't come. And because he built that up, and it was just because of the fact, like you said, the relationship, he never told anybody his story. Never was tell anybody that. We tell college coaches that, and they would just jaws drop, from meeting him and seeing him playing. And then, you hear coaches, and it's just, and I'm like, he never told nobody. I said, not for the longest. I said, having to, me, myself, having to do things to allow him, to be able to be successful and have things. It took us a while, and our coaches for a long time didn't know, and administration and things like that. And it's because every day he smiles. Like, you think this kid ain't got no worries in the world. He ain't thinking about nothing. And that's just a testament to, like I said, his character and the way he's just developed and how he just wants to be. And it's huge. Like I said, Trey say it, you be like, all right, I believe it. Hands down, man. I believe you, man. I always tell Trey, listen, man, you can tell me anything. You almost tell me that the moon ain't round, but and I believe you, but I'm a little smarter than that. But I love Trey for sure. He's definitely holds a special place, obviously, in my heart, like all the kids do. But Trey was definitely one that was he was a team first guy. When he had every reason to be like me.
Right.
But it was all about his team. Like, he never cared. Like, he never cared about the accolades and all that. Like, even the Mr. Football stuff, he didn't really care about it until he like, oh shoot, I actually probably could. I probably could win this thing. Like, I probably should win it once he started hearing the other coaches telling him like, dog, you should have won that thing. Like, that, you should have won it. And you got the other coaches of the finalists and stuff like, I can't believe, this guy ain't there. And I told Trey, like, that's the biggest compliment you need. You don't need the trophy to validate you, son.
I remember calling you. I remember calling Troutman. Like, it's nowhere in the world this man has does not come home with that trophy.
Yeah. But then, like I said, it goes back to politics and goes into showing some different things too, like how things work. Like I said, it's always bigger. than certain things, and nothing's never the way it truly seems until you actually dig down and start trying to figure out some things about it. And that's just the unfortunate thing in high school sports, for real, really. So some unfortunate things, where we are. You always have to peel back those layers of that onion.
Yeah. Sure.
Hey man, another thing, man, you didn't get enough credit as a coach here.
For sure, coach.
I appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate it.
We felt like a lot of people just kind of, what did you say? Y'all won 75 games, coach?
We won 55 in 7 years. 55 and 7.
55. I'm sorry, 55 games in 7 years. And people just, oh yeah, they were pretty good. They were pretty good. But our thing is the difference you made, brother. You get what I'm saying? Because we're in the community, so you hear rumblings of different things. Oftentimes when we doing positive things and we having an impact, you hear about it. You hear people talking. It's gonna start to create some kind of buzz. And while you was there, that's exactly what started happening, man. It was a big buzz, man. I started hearing old heads getting excited about Austin East football again and going to the games. Some of my uncles, seriously, man, I had a couple uncles that was refusing to go to Austin East football games because, they come from the glory years.
Yeah.
Point to where they was refusing to go. But when you got back over there, things looking good. Some you was putting a product on the field they could feel prideful about, so they started showing back up. For sure.
Yeah. That was always a big key for us. Big key for us as a staff, and like I said, thank you guys for the credit and everything. We always, a lot of times as coaches, we know we're judged on our wins and losses. Like I said, I think we had a fair share of quality wins. We was almost at 8 wins a season. We know at 8 you're judged on Fulton and beating Alcoa and winning state championships. But at the end of the day, we always look back at it too as a success. We sent 35 kids during my time to go play college football to earn scholarships to play college football. So that was huge for us. We had a 98% graduation rate, which was up from 88% when I first got there. We went up to 98. We'd only lost one kid that kept us from being a full 100%. So we're like 98.7 or whatever graduation rate, and so that was huge for us. We had our first college graduate that just graduated that played for me, just graduated from ETSU, Diamond Cowan. So he just graduated. We got some other kids on the verge of graduation now. So those are some of the big things that I looked at for myself as like successfulness. Yeah, the wins, and yeah, we would have loved to have that state championship, but what type of product and what type of man did we put back out into the community? Was it somebody that can be resourceful? Could they, give back to the community? Can't save them all, but you definitely want to try to impact them as much as you can to where they feel like they learn lessons from high school that they can apply in some everyday life, whatever it is that they decide to do in life. And it's always special to talk to some of them now. So I definitely look forward to seeing those ones graduating. Again, like I said, thanks for the credit, the shout out. But my staff was unbelievable the time I had them. The ones that even was in the beginning to the end, they did a phenomenal job with those kids and building it with them. The players was unbelievable that we had. I think one of the biggest things I was really happy about, I get to our community was the way I was able to make homecoming for AE. Yeah. How we was able to start that back up to make that. I really pushed to try to make that. I said it was a vision. I really wanted to build like that mini college atmosphere for a lot of those kids too, so they can have it. And that's why we went to Ohio that year. It's like I want to make sure these kids get a chance to go to Ohio because like spend the time like you do in a college, because y'all might not play college football. Right. Go to Ohio, stay in a hotel, eat these fancy restaurants, do these itinerary things, and we did it. We did everything. We had one of our kids tell us like, man, coach, we already did this stuff in high school. He playing at a school. He's like, man, we did this stuff in high school. I was like, hey, I told y'all, man, we're gonna give y'all the best. So again, like I said, I appreciate that for sure.
Sure, man. So, Coach, man, thinking about young men that's aspiring to go to the next level.
Yeah.
What do you tell? What do their mindset need to be, Coach? What are the things what are the things they need to pay attention to, and what are the things they kind of need to let fall to the wayside? Because I think
Yes.
a lot of guys are confused. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people in their ear telling them things are important.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of the main things I think a lot of people got, don't get caught up in your own hype. Don't get caught up in, I got this offer, I got that offer. They always say it only takes one. If you're trying to play college football, it only takes one offer. You got to do what you got to do. Don't do things for likes and retweets on social media because you're gonna end up looking bad. Don't lie. But for any kid, I always tell them this too. So you're a brand. So we all a brand. You're a brand. What makes you different than that kid across the street, that kid down the interstate, that kid that's in Georgia? What makes you different? And the first thing that's gonna make any kid different is they're gonna look at your GPA. Okay, if you got a 3-point-something GPA, cool. All right, automatically, all right, we want to look at that a little bit more. What's your ACT score? All right, things that you can control. Okay, cool. That makes you different. Now, what makes you different on the football field? Everybody can run, everybody can jump, everybody can, shoot a basketball, everybody can dribble handles. How are you impacting a game? Are you a leader? Does your teachers talk highly about you? Like those are the things that I think kids don't look at and start realizing that a lot of these coaches are making, $100,000 investments. They need to know, can you do your work in classroom? Are you a person of good character? You're not in ISS. You're not being suspended. You're not in the streets. You're not running these crazy type of lifestyles. You got your pants pulled up when you come. You know how to shake a man's hand. You know how to look a man in his eyes when he comes and talks to you. Those are the things, because again, like I said, everybody can run fast, jump high, make these moves. But when I come talk to you, man, are you gonna shake my hand like a man? You gonna talk to me like a man? And then really sell me on that premise of why your brand is better than another brand. I tell the kids all the time, y'all go to the store, you pick up the Nikes, you like the way they look, you put them on their feet, you testing them out, you drop the 180 to 190 for them.
Right.
But they tennis shoes, right? It's the brand. Y'all ain't going to Walmart and trying on them shoes at Walmart because y'all like that brand terrible. But they tennis shoes, they the same thing. They cover your feet. They the same thing, made from leather, whatever. It's the same product. Y'all like that brand because that brand is marketable. That brand is showing that it can stand the time, the duration. That's how you got to be as an athlete. You got to market yourself, make yourself stand out there better than somebody else. And it goes back to that whole competing thing. You have to do that, and you have to check those boxes off. I know you guys, y'all talked to Amari Rodgers, and that's what one of those things he did. He made his brand so popular that, okay, you got to come get me. Yeah. Then I'm gonna keep working, and that's how you keep making it right there when you make your brand popular. And that's what you have to realize, and that's what kids don't realize. What you put on social medias, your retweets, your likes, that's your brand. So if you got negativity stuff on there, that's a red flag. You got rap lyrics on there that's saying F this and do this and that. I don't know, man.
No, I can't trust
you. Yeah, I don't know. Is he gonna go to class or he gonna be doing this? And that, and then being handicapped coming from an inner city school or being handicapped coming from a small market like Knoxville. Yeah. I don't know, man. I might go take this kid out of Georgia. I'm gonna go take this kid out of Nashville. And then you miss out on an opportunity just because of something you might have put on social media, trying to be funny.
Yeah. Sure. Man, Coach, we done thoroughly enjoyed this one, man.
For sure. Oh yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm glad Coach, to be on for sure.
Coach Phillips coming through and giving us free game, Coach.
I'm telling you, so much knowledge, man. So much knowledge.
I mean, I appreciate you guys for sure. Just being able to be on here and talk and give back too. That, like I said, this is important. Somebody listen to anything that you guys are doing. You guys are doing an awesome job, and I really liked y'all's thing with J Mike. I was glad to hear J Mike talk. I think a lot of people forget about his story and some of the things that he was able to accomplish. I think it's awesome, you guys being able to, get back to some of those old Knoxville legends and kind of reaching out to those guys and seeing where they are. So I definitely commend you guys for doing this and taking that step. A lot of people won't do it. Because you got to be willing. I always tell people you got to be willing to be criticized. As long as you're willing to be criticized, you can be successful.
Hey, Coach, we coaches, so I'm very comfortable with that.
Hey. I always tell them, man, earmuffs. That's why I wear them headsets. We wear them headsets just so we ain't got to hear y'all talking. And basketball is a little different. They right behind you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You go hear some crazy stuff, man.
You can't help but hear some crazy stuff in basketball.
Man, Coach, do us a favor, man. Make sure you keep being you, man. Keep pushing, man. Stay in contact with us, man, because you definitely are like a model example of what our kids can be, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You definitely.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime, whatever. Definitely just let me know. Anytime, any kind of way I can help you guys, support you guys, whatever. Anything y'all doing, just let me know. For sure. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't say go Road Runners while we on here. Gotta represent. Yeah, you gotta represent 2800 Martin Luther King.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
Everybody, like I said, they make mistakes. Listen, y'all can come on home. We always welcoming back.
I can tell you
about us. Got loving hearts. We welcome you back. I'm just saying.
All right. Hey, Wood, I could tell him. I can tell him how he can help us out.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and go on the Fulton website and donate $5 to the basketball program?
That definitely ain't gonna happen. I don't care what you say. You got me on here. You already said that ain't gonna happen. I'd roll over my grave before I do that one. I don't want to even go to a game and pay the ticket fee to go to Fulton.
Oh man,
Coach, I'm telling you, like I am thoroughly like that rivalry runs so deep. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like I don't see how some other people could do it. I can't do it. Hey, Coach Black, you cool. You did all your stuff. Kudos to you guys. Fulton could tell me I could be the principal tomorrow. It ain't happening. It's not happening. That I just can't do it. It's just not me. Man, it's like Alabama and Auburn. It's just not me. I never vandalize and do anything like that. That just
it ain't you.
It's not me. Anytime I see a Fulton guy, we on the court, I'm gonna go at your neck. Now we might be cool later.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go at your neck. Let's believe that.
Show, man.
And then we can we can go have a beer later or something like that, But
right. Man, this been another fire episode of Rail and Wood, man. We signing off with Coach Phillips, man.
All right, dog.
Hey, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a good one.